It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Waike in the building.
Yo.
I love you. I love your shoes, Waike.
Oh, thank you.
They're not high at all. In fact, the lowest pair you've worn in a very long time.
You're very
How many
funny.
inches are these?
17. Does this one have music as well or lights? Sure.
Waike entered the party on Friday
Oh my
with
God.
shoes yay high and they were shining
got
lights
lights and music.
and they started singing. These shoes were singing.
Okay, we're not kill somebody.
Anyways, how many inches? It's about 6 inches.
I don't know.
But
They're very comfortable shoes.
About 6 inches, yeah.
Maybe I should give them to you because you like them.
Okay, I can't walk now. This one, I know
Doesn't do
myself.
heels.
I don't conjure
No,
my
these
eyes.
heels, you know they have a...
They're block heels, so I know
heels,
they,
yeah.
I don't know.
No, but you should be able to wear this one.
We'll see. But your skirts are beautiful.
Thank
I wish
you.
they were my size. I love it.
Do you know I bought this about over a year ago, 2 years ago in Abuja.
Ah,
It's beautiful.
We had to go to church and I didn't carry anything church-worthy.
talking
So
about
you walked
Abuja.
into the store.
I entered one store like this, like coincidentally in Abuja. Should I mention them more? I entered the store and see I got really nice things. Like I've not seen a store that has everything. I got some really, really cute things and I'm so happy.
Hope they were not too expensive.
They're not like they're affordable.
Wow.
I was really surprised.
When you hear the price, you will be saying,
Are you sure?
because you are confused, because you are coming from Lagos where everything is
and
so
you
expensive.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you hear the price in Abuja, you're like, really?
Abuja is expensive, but
not as much as Lagos.
Well, the clothes and the shoes,
Yeah.
they were really affordable.
Anyways, how you doing, Waike?
Any gist?
I'm fine. Just to thank all the fans that came on the show. Major
event.
General and his wife, the first to buy their tickets.
Yeah.
You know.
They had a lot of fun and they were
did.
so happy.
They did.
And we were able to send them thank yous and pictures.
Or give us some advice
that's
as
great.
well on intimacy and everything. I had a private chat.
You had a private chat
Major,
with
yes,
them?
me and my husband. We're just asking him
Are you
how
serious?
his marriage was, how he's been able to sustain it, how come his wife is still looking very young.
Yeah.
They're actually the same age.
Imagine that.
And you wouldn't know. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
How you
she
doing,
seems so
Bisido?
peaceful. I'm doing amazing.
How's your cough and
still-
catarrh?
I'm still drinking my ginger, lemon, and the garlic. I'm sorry.
You
for
look
the
gorgeous
garlic.
this morning. You look like...
Thank you.
Oh, she has her natural hair. Please, can we give her a round of applause?
Yeah, no serious. Like this hair stressed me. So
I was
pack
so
it
happy
this
to see
way.
you yesterday with your natural hair, and then again today, I'm just like, oh, maybe I've finally begun to...
No, but you know I take it out from time to time. Now you're making it seem like I abandoned my hair. I love my hair, but it's just not sustainable
that I
for
actually
me
dreamt
to wear
about
it
you?
all the time. Oh, really?
I dreamt that you started doing natural hair. Honestly.
Okay.
You don't have a business selling hair. Don't do this to me.
Okay,
This is my market. I have to
He's
eat.
weighing to you.
I have to eat. But yesterday my son did burgers for me. I had to break out of my keto so I can eat his burgers. I didn't want to break his heart. It was so tasty. I had two large burgers yesterday. Yeah, I'm so
You
proud
did it
of
from
him.
scratch or just...
From scratch, everything. He did the dough, everything from scratch. He's a chef now. He said he wants to be a chef.
That's nice.
Really
Yeah,
nice. That
it's
at
so
his age, he already
tasty.
knows exactly what he wants to do.
Not exactly. He does other things too. So let's not be in a hurry. He may be like his mother.
It's very versatile, but
lots
it's
of other
good.
things.
I like the fact that I wish I could have a son that could.
He knows what he wants and he keeps
It's
just...
not too late now. Your children are just
No,
good.
they're not interested. They want just to eat.
Maybe they don't see you cook as much.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll possibly. Well, it's Tuesday. It's our Healthy Tuesday. But we can't do Health Tuesday because today we're still being affected by the cash crunch. Everybody is still lamenting. But our hot topic will be about what happened in Ogun State. Really, really painful. 10 banks, I believe, were raised. And I think Keja Disco was also set ablaze. So we'll discuss that in our hot topic. But first, let's go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Naira customers overwhelm banks with cash demands. Picture here of amalgamation of Fulani groups endorse Tinubu. Southwest leaders back Tinubu, commend APC on power shift. Polls tips Tinubu to win. Pipeline vandalism, oil theft hurting economy. Buhari meets Ethiopian Airlines over Nigeria Air. All right, let's start with which story?
I'll do the major headline first.
Okay.
So many commercial banks were overwhelmed yesterday by huge cash demand from their customers. Said thousands of Nigerians who had been starved of cash for weeks raced to the banks in Lagos, Ondo, Ogun State, as well as Abuja, and they were hoping on the Central Bank of Nigeria to release the old 200 naira notes into their ATMs, as well as the new 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes. There was a lot of anger caused by the scarcity, and so they said in Ogun State there were rounds of protests. 4 banks were burnt during the violence in Shagamu, which is the state's 3rd largest city, and 30 of protesters have already been arrested by the police. And, you know, customers were struggling so much to deposit the old notes that they had with them. But then the CBN was saying that they still have up to April 10 to deposit the money back into the various branches. So in many branches said the customers were seen sitting on the floor, waiting for their numbers to be called by security officials for them to get into the bank. He said most ATMs, especially in Lagos, was not loaded yet with cash at all. So customers were just waiting. Some banks were able to pay. He said in some banks you withdraw from 20,000, but then as a lot of people keep coming in, then it reduces to 10,000 and 5,000. However, 3 financial institutions assured the CBN and commercial banks that they will make the 200 naira old notes available to banks. So the unions are the Association of Corporate Affairs Managers of Banks, the Committee of Heads of Operation of Banks, and the Committee of Chief Security Officers in banks. And they are saying that even with this internet issues that we're having with our platforms when you're trying to make transfers, that with time it will ease. We should just be more patient. They are appealing to the government to ensure that there are a lot of security people manning most of the banks to avoid all of this violence that is happening.
All right, so Southwest leaders met yesterday at a hotel and suites. The convener, Mr. Prince Tajuddin Olusi, had promoted Tinubu, saying that he promoted democracy, good governance, and economic development in the country. And there were Yoruba leaders of thought, and there was also congratulating the governors for insisting that power shift comes down to the south to promote unity, belongingness, and equity amongst others. They addressed the APC candidates and others, saying that indeed it is time for power to shift to the south, and they were collectively endorsing the APC flag bearer, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yesterday. In that story in The Nation, who has the Ethiopian air?
I have that, but let's
vandalism. The Minister of State of Petroleum Resources, Chief Timpere Silva, has attributed the loss of revenue from the crude oil production to theft, pipeline vandalism, and decayed infrastructure. He said this through his senior advisor on media and communications, Mr. O. Horatius Igua. He was just talking that the pipeline vandalism, the lack of crude oil is due to the theft, vandalism, and poor infrastructure.
Okay. So President Muhammadu Buhari has encouraged owners of Ethiopian Airlines to discuss the final takeoff on Nigeria's new national carrier. We've been talking about it for a while now. So he said that things would be all right. He's expressing his confidence. The president spoke during a meeting with the Gema Wake, Ethiopian Airline board chairman, who was accompanied by Ms. Fintaswe, Group Chief Executive Officer of the airline, and Daniela Bebe, Group Vice President, Strategic Planning and Alliances, on the margin of the 36th African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So they made a statement and they said, that's according to Garba Shehu, saying that this was a weighty decision to start up this airline. And Wake initially had requested for a resolution of the legal obstacle which has been stopping Nigeria from carrying out or from commencing operations of this airline. He also requested that their funds that is trapped in the country because of these foreign exchange issues should be repatriated back to their country. And they said Nigeria has treated them well, that's Ethiopia Airlines, since for over 60 years that they've been here. So they don't just consider Nigerians as business allies, but almost like family. And so they are looking forward, they are ready, since they own about 49% of this Nigerian air. They're looking forward to having a fruitful relationship, and they are ready to commence activities immediately. Nigeria sorts out the case in the courts.
Okay. The Punch. 4 days to pause. Naira chaos grounds economy. Latest poll puts Tinubu ahead of all. Petrol rose by 55% to 257 naira to the liter, and in January it says NBS. Okay, which story are we starting with in Punch? There is not much.
I'll do the petrol.
Yes.
Said that many Nigerians are still paying far above 185 naira per litre approved pump price of petrol amid the fuel scarcity. This was a report of the National Bureau of Statistics, and they said that they observed the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria and NNPC retail outlets sold the products for 185 per litre to consumers, while members of IPMAN, on the other hand, were selling between 200 naira and 250 naira per litre. So it was a statistics that they put together of how it has risen across the different states. So the report noted that the average price in January 2023 was an annual increase of 54.52% and a monthly increase of 24.70%. It also said that the price the consumers paid for the premium motor spirit for January 2023 was 257 naira per litre, indicating a 54.52% increase relative to the value recorded in January 2022. So it was just, detailing, and they categorized it according to different states, the Southwest, the North. However, the North had the lowest, the Southwest and the South-South had the highest in terms of percentages. And they're saying that if we don't have enough fuel being imported, we may still be stranded again, and there will be a lot of vehicles waiting at the filling station to get fuel.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, we're going to continue with Daily Sun. Major headline, new opinion poll gives Tinubu victory. Health workers' patience groan as naira crisis worsens. Elections, CDS holds emergency meeting with service security chiefs. Alleged 3 billion naira fraud, court dismisses AFCC's counter affidavit. Grant Ali Bello others 500 million naira bill. INEC restrained from using emefiele more in distributing election materials. And INEC won't let Nigerians and the international community down, says Yakubu. All right, so there was a poll conducted by Freedom Services that tipped the flag bearer of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to be the victor on Saturday's elections. According to the poll, 4 variables were used: political geography, religion, resources, and class were used by the team of data analysts who were able to get about almost 370,000, about 287. They sent out 370,000 questionnaires. 287,000, a little over that, responded, of which 37.2% projected and voted for, or projected Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while 32.1% projected Peter Obi, and 30.7% projected Atiku, and 0.23% projected Kwankwaso. So they are all still in the 30% range. Still makes a really close race.
Very close.
From this, it still shows that Asiwaju is still the most preferred according to the survey. And various variables, and it was done across the 36 states. This wasn't a sectional poll that many others had been. This was quite across the 36 states. And they were done in different languages: Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and various other local languages. And it was organized, also focused areas to spread across the political parties. So it was a bit more accurate than the other ones we've seen the most. But either way, we'll know the real results this weekend.
After Saturday, yeah. So the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, said the armed forces, police and the security agencies were battle ready to give a bloody nose to any person or group of persons who may want to scuttle the electoral process. So he gave the warning yesterday when he met with service chiefs and head of security agencies in Abuja, and promised to provide a conducive environment for the general election so that we have a crisis-free election. So he was calling on Nigerians to go and cast their votes for the candidate of their choice without fear of being attacked, that adequate security measures have been put in place to protect law-abiding citizens. And he also assured the elections will hold, like INEC has promised, and we are going to definitely have an election. So after the meeting, the meeting lasted about 2 hours, and then he came out to brief journalists. And he went ahead to, talk about what has been happening so far, that they are ready for the elections. INEC is ready for the elections. The DSS is ready. The security agencies are ready. Everybody has been briefed. They know what they're supposed to do to ensure that we have a crisis-free and fair elections.
It might end up being one of the safest elections.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
I suspect.
You have any story, YK?
Yeah, the 17 people were rescued alive as a passenger capsized.
Oh, yes, I heard. In Lagos.
Near Third Mainland Bridge. They were coming from Ikorodu, and when they got near Third Mainland Bridge, they both capsized. But the last one were able to
water management
rescue all 17 passengers, and then there, of course, investigations are ongoing.
As to what could have happened.
As to what could have happened, yes. But we thank God that they were rescued, you know. It's a terrible death.
All right. Vanguard, Tinubu leads in closing poll as Obi Atiku trail. Naira redesign mops up 1.8 trillion naira from currency outside banks. Elections, U.S. Embassy alerts Nigerians in their citizens in Nigeria on possible protests. Polls, courts restrains INEC from engaging MC Park Committee. Nigeria records 85 Lassa fever deaths in 6 weeks, says NCDC. Alleged 3 billion naira fraud. Court grants Ali Bello, 3 others, 500 million naira bail. Okay, which story are we starting with there?
I was going to take $2 million was recovered from the earthquake. You know, while they were trying to rescue people, they brought out this money. $2 million.
But that was in Turkey.
In Turkey, yeah, sorry. I didn't... you know, they've had 2 devastating earthquakes. One was 7.5 on the Richter scale and 7.8.
Right.
And the president has described it as the disaster of the century, and people are just coming around. And apparently, the Ghanaian footballer, he died in the earthquake as well.
Yeah, I had seen that report earlier in the week.
Christian Atsu. You know, I'd heard that a footballer was there, but I didn't hear that he died, so I was really devastated to read it, you know. I heard that they were even burying him. I didn't even know it was the earthquake that he died in. Very sad.
So Justice Obiora Iguatu of the Federal High Court yesterday granted bail to Ali Bello and 3 others in the alleged 3 billion naira fraud suit that was brought against them by the EFCC, ruling against the counter-affidavit by the EFCC. The judge held that the charges against the defendants were bailable, and it was to enable the defendants charged with the offense to prepare adequately for their trial. So the bill was about 500 million naira, and that was what happened yesterday. Okay.
Yes, so the implementation of the naira redesign and withdrawal of old banknotes by the Central Bank of Nigeria has sucked about 1.81 trillion from the currency outside of the banks, while crashing currency in circulation to 1.4 trillion January 2023. So this development is in line with the policy plan of the Apex Bank. Financial experts are, however, saying that this would cause a rise in inflation, and this is contrary to what we're supposed to be working towards our economy. But the CBN said that the old 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes have expired as legal tenders from February 10th, but they are going to be stocking the banks with the old 200 naira notes, which people can still use.
When?
Now, they have promised that they will start that, so hopefully from today we should see that in the banks. But they are saying that you have a chance. So if you have not redeemed your 500 and 1,000 naira notes, you still have one chance to go to the CBN website and get a code to go and redeem it. And you are allowed to redeem it just once. So you're not coming several times to redeem. So gather all your money, get that code, and go to the CBN. You can also redeem in banks. If it's less than 500,000 naira, you can redeem them in banks. If not, you have to go to the CBN. But you must get that code. That will also help reduce the traffic in the CBN and the banks as well.
Okay, I was going to take, nobody has the NCDC story. Nigeria recorded 85 deaths from Lassa fever in the first 6 weeks in 2023. That's across 20 states and 79 local governments, according to the NCDC. That's really staggering. I mean, 85 deaths already in 20 states. That's something. The agency noted that cumulatively from the week 1 to week 6, these deaths have caused about 16%, of which is lower than the CFR for the same period in 2022. That's this time last year, it wasn't that high. They also said that the number of new confirmed cases had decreased from 106 to 5 in 2023. About 68 cases has been reduced from 106 to 68 cases by the 5th week in 2023. Okay, let's move on to the final paper. This is the Nigerian Tribune. Mbeki to INEC, success of elections depends on you. Naira redesign article accuses APC governors of provoking anarchy. Election closure of universities by NUC illegal, says Afe Babalola. Banks torch as Naira scarcity protests rock Shagamu. A new opinion poll predicts Tinubu's victory, Obi article trail. Okay.
Yes, so founder of Afe Babalola University, Ado Ekiti, Are Afe Babalola SAN, has faulted the National Universities Commission for closing down universities in the country for the 2023 general elections. So we know that the federal government had given a directive that schools be closed for the election period from February 22nd to March 14th. And, you know, it's not going down well with Afe Babalola. So
thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing all the happenings in our country, especially as a result of the cash crunch that Nigerians are experiencing. Yesterday, we heard about 10 banks were raised in Ogun State. And I also heard that the Ikeja disco office was also set ablaze. These are some of the things that happened where many were arrested. The police did confirm that arrests were made, investigations were ongoing to see if they can get more of the perpetrators. But the question, therefore, is, why are we destroying banks? Why are we causing so much of these mayhem going on across the country? How can the banks, what can the banks do to reduce this amongst the people? Some had said that orderliness is one of the things that, for whatever reason, we don't imbibe in this part of the world. So yes, you're expecting a crowd, something as basic as putting chairs outside, getting a canopy, getting water for people to come in. As they come in, explaining to them. I saw a few videos where some bank managers came out to try to explain and appeal to the people, and they held back. Sometimes when you don't see anything and they just close up the doors and shut the doors, people get angry. So are there ways they can better communicate to people? Or are these people just not listening, ready to listen to anybody and just raising down buildings? What are your thoughts? How can we do this better? The government has their own fault where they're not providing enough funds for people to get. At the same time, could the banks have prepared better for the crowd that are coming? Or how can the local government, the community leaders, what can they do to talk to people to restrain themselves from destroying public property? That's our conversation again this morning. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 0913907694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. So all waiting for the Supreme Court judgment tomorrow based on what was the fact that all these governors sued the federal government for what we're going through right now, the cash crunch, and the fact that they're not upholding the Supreme Court judgment. However, as we're waiting, people are destroying property. What do you think? How can we stop them? We know the fault of the government already. Well, how are we making things worse? Or is there a way, or is it expected? Or how can we are prepared for it better?
You said 10 banks, right?
That is from the police
report.
One
state has lost 10 banks.
Yes.
10 huge infrastructure.
Yeah.
And if that state needs to start rebuilding, so let's take it, for instance, that the state owns part of the banks and maybe individuals owned that business and they have to start rebuilding, we should know how much they would take. If it has to come from the state, for instance, that is depleting an account where we don't even have enough money that is meant to be for the good of the people, just to build the infrastructures that we have lost because we are angry. I think our people need to start thinking beyond themselves. You wouldn't say because you have not eaten, your parents did not give you food, you now start setting fire to raise down the house. Yeah. Because when you raise down the house, you're going to definitely sleep outside or sleep in the bush. You have damaged something in the heat of your anger. We need to move past ourselves. We need to move past the fact that we're not able to have access to what we need. We understand everybody. In fact, yesterday, I was dragging 4,000 naira with my husband. That's why they change wallet up and down. He said, don't touch, why are you touching my wallet now? I only have 3,000 naira inside the wallet. Why do you want to take everything? I said, your wallet is my wallet. Don't even go there. We're dragging because there's no soup in my house. There's nothing in my house. I needed to send my sister to the market to help me get some things. And she said even if she can make transfer to some of the vendors, she will need to pay a labaro that will carry some of those things. So she needs a form of cash. And so so it's affecting everybody right now. But we'll not say because we are being affected, even when the government is making promises that they would send us back the 200 naira, we're still waiting, they will do this, they will do that, to now begin to destroy properties, which will in turn affect us. So if we close all the banks, for instance, in Ogun State now, and they now want to load the ATMs, there's no ATM to load, how do we get our money? So this we have created more problems for ourselves.
This is what the obas, the kings, the local governments, the councillors should be communicating to the people. I'm told now that with the banks raised in Shagamu, people in Shagamu will have to go to Okene or Ijebu or Abeokuta to bank. Imagine. So you're living in Shagamu now. They've raised down most of your banks. You're now having to travel all the way to Okene or to Ijebu just to use the ATM. Is that not worse? So who is affected? Is it the MD of the bank that you bought that is affected? I don't understand why.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And it is true that the banks are affected. But I want us to look at it from another perspective. There is this mechanic, my friend's mechanic. His wife died because he couldn't get naira to take to the hospital, and the hospital, the transfers weren't going, the whatever were not going, and then the wife died. His neighbor, the same mechanic, his neighbor, the child died. So now, look at those two people. The despair that they will feel is they will not be able to think beyond. Rationally. Because of you, my child, you this bank. Now remember, CBN caused this problem by putting all the banks. Saying that the ones hiding the money, the banks are hiding the money. So people now feel. So people are now against the banks, thinking it's the banks that no, actually there's money, but they're hiding it. They want to give one politician or the other. So people have this adverse feeling.
The root cause of this.
Yes. So the root cause is what CBN gave us as their reason for. Okay.
So CBN should therefore take responsibility for this destruction.
Because now that there is no money, it's not CBN. They are not bringing any video that the banks have money. They are not bringing out any video again. But they have caused that problem by putting out those videos, and people now think it's the banks. People, I mean, staff are beaten.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
To jump off the fence, over the fence, just
over the fence. Can you imagine? Then you have your I've been trying to make a transfer since Sunday. Today is Tuesday. I have not been able to make the transfer.
I haven't been, now that we are talking about the bank, so we might as well just mention this. GT Bank has been really, really stressful. I don't know what's going on with GT Bank, but a few other banks have been able to. Only one bank for me is working. The other ones are not even working at all. But I think because all of us, everybody has a GT Bank account. Everybody. So it's for some reason they need help because their systems are overwhelmed. Yeah. And somehow they need extra reinforcement to help to ensure they can get more capacity of people, because right now we're all even migrating to transfer online, and it's really overwhelming. Every transaction I try to do online on that bank doesn't go through.
So, it's the same. It's the same. I've been trying that GT Bank. I have not been able to make. How much do I want to transfer? 30,000.
Now you're hanging since.
I've been hanging since. So the person is now thinking I want to chop their money, and I don't want to chop their money.
I would like to take. I'll come to you. Well, I'm told that the Commissioner of Police in Ogun State will be on shortly. I think it's on already. so we can even get an update on how many arrests have been made and what they're doing to sensitize the public on this, on the aggression that happened yesterday. Good morning, sir. Are you there? Hello, sir. Are you there?
Yeah,
Mr. Frankenbauer, good to have you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. I guess I'm speaking to Mariah.
Yes, you are. Could you give us an update on what happened yesterday with the banks that were raised by hoodlums in that community? What happened exactly? Could you give us an idea what happened and how many people have been arrested so far?
Mariah, I'm actually on the field. We are carrying out a mop-up operation right now. So I'm actually not, I won't be able to speak long on this phone.
Okay.
But what I can assure you is the fact that we are putting everything in place to ensure that we track down the perpetrators of this crime. As at yesterday, 30 of them were arrested. They are currently being profiled and investigated at the State CID Abeokuta. Between 6 p.m. last night and this morning, we've also made additional arrests. We are following up on some of the information we've extracted from the suspects. Some of the items that were looted from those banking halls, we've also traced and tracked them. We've recovered some of them. We have also made additional arrests. The governor is also joining us here this morning to also have a first-hand assessment of the situation. And so I will plead that you let us continue our operation, and then we speak to you subsequently.
Okay. Okay, so what's the situation of the terrain now? Is there been any form of calm brought to the area?
Absolutely. The situation is calm now. People are beginning to go about their normal duties. The other parts of Ogun State, from Ijebu-Ode to Abeokuta to all other parts of the town, other parts of the state are also calm. What happened here for me is an isolated case of organized crime. It is not just a protest. This is criminality at its peak. And will we do everything possible to ensure that we make a strong statement using the instrumentality of the law to ensure that this culture is put to an end?
Okay. Thank you very much. Let me let you go because I know you're working right now and you have to. We'll get feedback from you maybe tomorrow or day after to at least be sure that it's calm restored.
Thank you, Mariah, and have a great day.
All right. So, hearing from him, I was going to ask, and I know he doesn't have time to speak for us a long time, but I was actually going to find out. You would think that after this happened in Edo, the police would have been on guard because there's no way Nigerians always have this kind of twin attacks. Once one thing happens here, everybody else thinks they can duplicate the same thing. Oh, Edo went, because Edo was really under fire a few days, I think it was last week.
You don't know where the next violence is going to
therefore, the bank should be reinforced. Somehow get reinforcement for the banks. Information, cameras, CCTVs must be
how many policemen will I get?
Good question. That's what I was going to ask.
Okay, so you don't get, let's assume there's not enough policemen. But let's make sure your CCTV cameras work. Redirect them so that even if anybody's coming, we can quickly get a facial identification of who. That's
another form of resource, which they may not have planned.
Many of them already have CCTVs in their banks.
Yes, but they don't have enough, like you're saying now. Make sure you put it everywhere. See,
it was a Sunday now. Banks were closed.
Yes, so see, the thing is, there is no excuse for violence.
Absolutely.
None at all, whatever the reason is. And I think we need to start building ourselves in such a way that we accept what is and re-engineer our minds to accept crisis. Crisis will always happen in whatever form. This is a form of crisis. And if you're not equipped to handle any form of crisis when it happens, that's why you're running to go and destroy things when things happen. This sort of thing happened in other countries where things are not working the way the citizens work. Do they just move out and start destroying things? It's a mindset. We're not a collective people. If you don't destroy the things, what do you fall back on tomorrow? So crisis will happen in whatever form. If it's ASWO that goes on strike, or NNPC goes on strike, or there's no field, things will happen from time to time. It's a country. It's evolving. In our homes, we have crisis. Do you now start destroying your house because your husband quarreled with you? We need to understand that these things will happen and then start seeking for solution. Okay, what do we do? What are they saying? How long do we wait? Start asking the right questions. Also, the people that destroy banks are not the ones that even have money in the banks. Morayo, you now, even if you have like, let's say you have one small 5 million somewhere, you will not stand up and go and be destroying the bank because you calculate in your head, what if these banks come back and say, because of the destruction we have, we're using customers' money to repair some things, we'll not be able to pay you. You will think that way. So the people that actually perpetrate this violence are those who have 1,500 naira in the banks. And so we should be careful not to give them this, well, they are upset, they are angry to sort of, you know, is it support what they are doing? There's no excuse for violence, and we need to stop it holistically. It's affecting all of us.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a few phone calls on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this cash crunch Nigerians are experiencing. And we're also waiting for the Supreme Court's judgment tomorrow to know exactly what the way forward is. Let's take a few messages before I bring in our guest.
Yeah, I wanted to... There is one here that says, these destructions, especially in Edo and Ogun, are politically sponsored. Now, I really wanted us to take it from that level. Do you think that it is true that the politicians are the ones sponsoring these attacks?
Of course, that's possible. You see, right now in this season, everything is political.
Yeah.
Everybody must use everything to get to sway votes and to believe that, listen, the current the APC administration obviously has caused has been the one that implemented this policy that is working against us. So everything, if you sneeze, is political. If you sit down, is political. Everything you do right now is political. So if there's somebody that sees an opportunity to frustrate Nigerians to benefit their own party, they will take it. And that's what many people could do. So if you're a politician for maybe an underdog party, you feel like, oh, we must take over, or you feel that you're opposed to lose. You do everything. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's an opportunity. If I was somebody's campaign manager, I say, listen, this policy is frustrating Nigerians. If we do this, maybe we're going to get to sway people against us. So we can't rule it out. We're not saying exactly that's what's happening, but it's possible. It is a possibility, and we must not rule it out.
If it is, I think they should get to the bottom of the politicians who are sponsoring it.
But unfortunately, that's why there's an investigation. But regardless of the investigation, people will say that nobody will ever mention any names.
Yeah, never gets
let me take a few calls. Okay, our guest is on. So we're going to be having Senator Ibrahim Yahaya Oloriegbe, who is representing the Kwara Central constituency, and he's going to be giving us an idea of the impact of this policy on his own local government. Good morning, sir. In your constituency, actually.
Good morning. Good morning, Mariah.
Good to have you on the show. We've been trying to speak to lawmakers all week because we know you tried to speak to the CBN governor to retract this policy, and you're also responsible for your constituency. What has it been like since the implementation of this policy, and how are your people taking it in Kwara State?
Well, thank you very much. I'm speaking to you from Ilorin. I arrived in Ilorin on Sunday, and I'll be here till the election. And part of the things I'm doing is to find out the effect and how we can support our people. It's really been very challenging. And I will share about 3 experiences that are very sympathetic. One, while I was moving, I saw one shoemaker. And I saw him doing a work for somebody. I just stopped. And what he shared with me, the person, the woman said slipper got spoiled, but she doesn't have money. The shoemaker now said, if you don't have money, just give me food, because I don't have food to eat. So don't need to give me money, because I don't have money, because I've not been able to see anybody that will give me money. But give me food, I will repair your shoe. And I asked that if you eat, what happens to people at home? She said, let me survive first. Maybe I will still see another person that will be able to give me money. This is as far as that goes. Secondly, that a market where they sell vegetables. I passed through the place yesterday, the whole of Road, around the afternoon. And I asked my driver to stop because I saw the women that are selling the vegetables, which they call a fork. It was around the afternoon, around 2 p.m., and I still saw that they had a lot on their counter. And I said, why are you having? Because usually that market is usually by morning, by 10 o'clock in the morning, they finish selling. But as at 2 p.m., we still have the same because of the cash crunch. The third thing I want to say is I found out what is happening with people that require to get money at all costs. They say they use POS. And they say POS charge up to 200 naira for 1,000 naira. These are some of the expenses that I see. And you see generally the market is dull. Many people have their wares, they could not sell it. So this is some of the things that...
So do you think there'll be voter... I mean, we had discussed yesterday and we're saying that this might cause voter apathy. People might not just show up to vote because they can't even move around. How do you think this would affect voting on Saturday?
I think it will. I think it will. And that's one of the reasons why I said I came home and I'm staying here to see how we can mobilize and ask people to come out to vote, irrespective of whatever the challenge. It will not be because of even money. People don't move with money on election day. But it's because of the apathy against the policy that what are we voting for? What is government there for us? We can't get money to be able to transfer business. We can't sell our business. So am I going out to vote? So what we are doing now is to get people to converse around, to tell them that it's important to come out to vote because that is the best way to be able to put people that we put policies that will improve their lives. So, but definitely it will.
Okay,
we only have to work around it.
All right, Senator. Another fear is that some Nigerians are thinking that the initial money, that was released as the new notes have been hoarded by politicians who want to buy votes on that day. Do you envisage a lot of cash being spent to convince people to vote for this person on that day? And if it happens, is there anything to stop it from happening? Because people actually need cash.
One, that is not a fact. I'm a politician, and I swear by God, who I will meet when nobody will be there, that as a politician, such a thing is not happening. I myself, I'm only able to collect 20,000 from my bank. I have the account in 3 banks. While I was in Abuja, I have to write a check of 20,000. That's the only thing I get. So 2, we don't need money to be able for people to vote or to give money to people. I've contested elections several days. I won election 2019. I'm not contesting now, but I'm mobilizing for people to vote. People will vote based on our credibility. So I don't agree that politicians hoard money. 2, I also don't see that money will play a major role, other than the fact that it is the credibility of the people that are stakeholders. Because what you do know about the election is that, 1, people come out to vote in many places because of certain gatekeepers and stakeholders who they have trust in. Now, a lot of people make decisions based on those stakeholders. We have only very few people in Nigeria who are enlightened enough to make decisions on their own. I know all these, what happened on the Facebook media, or even on either the social media or even the traditional media. I must say, as a politician, as someone that has contested an election, particularly in my constituency, majority of people will come out to vote and vote for people based on certain gatekeepers, stakeholders, who they trust, who they know that if we vote, when we want to ask for water, we want to ask for electricity, we want our children that are going to school to be supported. These are the people that we can go and meet, and that is what makes people to vote. So as such, it's not the money that will make people to vote. I'm not saying that, of course, there are needs of money for election, not for people to buy votes, but you have...
But people buy votes now.
Hello?
People buy votes. We have seen people buy votes.
There's no money.
I have participated in the election. I can tell you I didn't buy votes. What I use money for election is to pay agents. I don't know about that.
So,
because
Senator,
the 2019 election that I won, money was not a factor. I mean, buying votes wasn't a factor for me to win the election.
Senator, we've seen many cases, even in court, where there were allegations of vote buying in different situations. So we understand it does exist. But obviously, with the fact that there's no cash, clearly there can't be any vote buying. People will vote, as you said, based on who they trust, who they believe in. So that is fine. That's what democracy is about. But our worry is logistics of people getting around. For example, those even going to carry the ballot boxes or the ballot papers around, do they have cash to go around? Has the CBN provided that? We don't even know. Those who are even...
I agree with you. That's what I'm saying, that will be affected. That's like, for example, we have rural areas.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I said, like in my constituency, I have 2 local governments that are mainly rural. And for people to, most of them live in villages where the polling booth will be like 5 kilometers or more from them. So usually, just like I said, the stakeholders and the gatekeepers will have to rent vehicles, buses, to transport people because people will not trek to those places. They are mostly farmers that are in these places. So for you to buy fuel stations don't in the lorry or in the most of this area, they don't accept POS. They don't even have POS. So you need cash to be able to do that. Now, mostly on the election day, for those rural areas, you need to be able to get them water or something to eat. Well, because they leave their houses early in the morning.
Yeah.
Because some of them, as I said, the distances are long and the roads are not so good. So you have to provide food. So for you to be able to provide food, you need something to be able to provide money to give to them. Because if I'm contested, I'm living in the lorry and somebody is far, like 60, 70 kilometers, it is money that they will use to go and prepare the food they will eat in that particular location or to buy pure water that they will distribute to them. Those are the challenges. And now the tax crunch will affect the election.
All right, thank you so much. We just wanted to hear what it's like in Kwara State and just know how you're coping, especially because you're a leader in your constituency and people will be asking you a lot of questions. We await. Thank you so much, sir. Senator, let me let you go at this point. But I know...
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
So this is really hard. You see, it's different in the cities compared to other areas that they have to walk kilometers just to get... When you now get to the bank, they're giving me 5,000 naira.
Well, you see, what is even annoying me right now is you have to buy money. I haven't seen a situation where you have to buy your currency. I'm not buying dollars. I'm buying naira now. 50,000, we buy 40,000 naira. Is that not inflation?
You buy it at 10,000, so you get 40,000 naira, right?
So you say it's for the betterment of the people, but the people are not feeling that betterment. Impact. Because how will you, the people who have died, who have lost their loved ones because they can't afford hospital bills, because they can't afford to, there's no money to go and buy water. Maybe your loved one needs water, you cannot, there's no water because you don't have naira. If you take the naira, you want to change it, they'll tell you.
You know, Mike, if this happens in other parts of the world, for example, do you know that many organizations, either the banks, the churches, organizations, you buy water. So, for example, maybe a station, anybody, buy water, something basic, have shelter, chairs, let people sit down. Distribute. Just to reduce the hardship people are facing. Even if it is free bread and beans. So, for those of you that can do ATMs, go to the market, transfer money, buy lots of food. You know, these are things that organized sector, the organized private sector kind of put together to help alleviate, because we did that during COVID.
But right now, even the organized sector,
they don't get it.
They are suffering. They cannot get money. How will they? Look. You know what started the French Revolution? The king. The people were crying outside. They need bread. They want bread. They want bread. Then he said, I'll let them eat cake. Bam. That was what sparked it off. It's a small thing. That's why, okay, we agree that we don't want these people to attack banks. We agree that we don't want this kind, but it is something that will spark. So the government has to be aware the pulse of the people. You have to feel the pulse of the people.
Yeah.
If you don't feel the pulse of the people, you are going to create the kind of
chaos
that we don't want.
Let me take this call from Tai. He's calling from, I think, Maiduguri. Good morning, Tai. Oh, Mina. Good morning, Tai. You're live. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, yeah.
Morning.
Firstly, I want to appreciate the effort of the security agencies, the media, and the government so far, in respect of what is happening in the country. This is not the best of time for anybody. That's what I finally said. Especially access to money, which you need to want to buy it. However, the election is here, and it should not be good for anything to happen to the election as regards credibility-wise. But this is, I want to appeal to government to make all the things available so that there will be seamless election and we will be able to move freely on that election day. Finally, I want to commend the police, the civil defense, and other players for their readiness to ensure that we conduct a peaceful election in this country. And now it behoves all the citizens to come up and support the government to conduct the election. But they need money, they need livelihoods that will make them to go out and vote on the election day. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Taye, for joining us.
Yes, I wanted to say the POS people who are still selling naira, where are they getting the new notes from? They still have the new notes flowing because anytime you go and buy, for those people who have bought, they have never said there's no new notes available. They must sell. They have to sell. So where are they getting it from? Who are they?
Has me. I don't know what the POS mean. I don't.
People have been buying money. People have been buying money. They've been buying.
In our area, those ones, they're selling it.
They're selling money. So like, where are they getting the stash from? Where are they collecting from?
The one we just saw.
Which CBN officials or bank officials are still giving them money? They have money. If you want to buy, don't worry, money will appear. Once you say you want to buy now, you see a POS person who will sell to you. So where are they getting the money from? You see, Nigeria, we don't like ourselves in this country. We don't like ourselves. Even if you want to have a bit of profit. So I don't know how they are getting the money. Maybe they are buying the money themselves, and that's why they're putting so much profit. But if you say, okay, let me even put small money on top, it makes more sense than for you to be collect. Somebody pays 5K to collect 50,000 and 10K for 100,000. Or sometimes for 50,000, you pay 10,000, so you get just 40,000 naira back. We rip ourselves off and we complain that the government is trying to rip us off. Are we not the government?
Okay, we have to wrap up on this because our guest is here. We're going to be discussing shortly with our guest. But in a nutshell, this hasn't gone away. If you know how our leaders sometimes do things, I just think that maybe it's kind of Nigerians just adjust, you know, to just frizzle off. This is not going away. Nigerians are in pain. They need a reversal, and I hope tomorrow that when the Supreme Court comes out with this, with their own judgments on this, they would ensure that money is thrown back into the system so that Nigerians can have money to use.
That's all.
That's all we're asking.
Just put money.
Give us the 200 naira.
Where is the 200 naira? So that if you go to the bank, I can collect 10,000 because the cuckoo won't give you more than 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah. All right, that's all we can take on this. When we go on the break, when we come back, we'll bring in our guests. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show now is the National Youth Leader of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Dayo Israel. He'll be speaking on the manifesto, on the youth manifesto of Asiwaju's presidential bid, the party's grand finale rally in Lagos, and Governor Sanwo-Olu's re-election bid, amongst others. Welcome to the show, Dayo Israel.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Dayo Israel. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC. Can you please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. So they call you the National Youth Leader of the APC, and I'm thinking to myself, APC and youth don't seem to correlate because when you think youth, you think other parties. People always assume that APC doesn't have so many youth following. Could you tell me what are you doing to get young people to actually vote in your party?
Thank you very much, Mariah, and thank you to the ladies of Your View for having me in your midst this morning. I think that we believe that Nigeria starts and ends on Twitter and on social media, or we think that the world revolves around those of us who are in towns and cities. But it will shock you that a huge percentage of young people, those who are with us are more than those who are against us. And I'll give you an example. As national leader of the party alone, I have 200,000 foot soldiers directly under me as the wing commander of the youth wing of the APC. And I'll break it down for you. I'm the national youth leader to the glory of God. I have a deputy national youth leader. I have 6 zonal youth leaders elected at the convention. I have 37, including state 36 at FCT, state youth leaders. They all have deputies, another 37. Then I have 109 senatorial youth leaders elected at their state congresses. Then I have 774 plus LCDAs, so about 1,000 local government and LCDA youth leaders. And they all have deputies, another 1,000, elected at our congresses. I have 8,864 ward youth leaders and their deputies. That's about 16,000 on the ward level alone. Every single ward in Nigeria, I have a foot soldier. Then I have 76,000 plus polling unit youth leaders in every single polling unit.
That 200,000 that you are calling is all the under your employee.
Under my structure, yes. As national youth leader, they're youth leaders of the party. So while I am national youth leader, they are state youth leaders, local government youth leaders, ward youth leaders, and polling youth leaders elected at our congresses and convention. We have them to serve a tenure of 4 years, and we've always had them. Show me another party that have the structure. Because our guys don't come on social media to attack and to abuse doesn't mean that we don't have people. Elijah said, I have Eden waiting for me. You know, God told Elijah, over 1,000 that have not bowed their heads to bow. Yeah. You understand? So it's not about grandstanding on social media. Now, these are just leaders, 200,000 leaders who are elected in our party, under me. They now have members under them. The constitution of our party says everybody under the age of 40 with the APC membership is a member of our APC youth wing. If we now have the members in each of the structure, the youth in Adeodo local government, for example, or let me say Yaba local government, who are in the APC under that their local government youth leader, or in that ward in Makoko, under their ward youth leader, you are talking about millions, over 10 million APC young people. Our last registration of our party has 41 million membership for APC. Out of the 41 million, over 50% of it are young people under the age of 45. So that is first our own foot soldiers, manpower, structure that we have as a party. Now leave that alone and now begin to talk about young people in the party who are in different states. I've gone to 33 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the last 3 months, not on the rallies or campaign, not with my candidate, but personally going into the trenches to meet young people directly. I just came back from Ogun State. Then I went to Calabar. I came back from Calabar yesterday. We had a walk yesterday in Calabar morning. You see the turnout of the young people that walked with me from the State House to campaign office on Calabar Road yesterday morning. There are young people that you don't see them come to fight and attack on social media. So because some people have chosen to dominate the media space and begin to attack in a coordinated way does not mean that the youths are not with our party.
All right. So this is shocking to me to hear that the APC has a structure for a lot of youths. Yes. And I would like to ask, what is the ideology behind what you are pursuing? You know, if you ask the layman on the street, they will say the APC government has failed them so far. They will call all the things that are not working in the country. But for young people in the strength of their numbers to still be a part of APC, what is that ideology that you see that you guys are holding on to that you believe will make Nigeria better?
So I said to someone recently, I said, you may say that the country has had challenges, but it's not fair to say that the APC has failed. And I'll tell you why. I told you I've traveled to 33 states on just mobilizing young people. I drove from Bauchi to Yobe, Damaturu. I drove from Yobe, Damaturu to Jingbam, where it was captured by Boko Haram under the PDP government. Nobody could live in those communities. They were terrorized. The roads from Bauchi to Damaturu is so beautiful, well developed, I think by the Sukuk board under the Buhari administration, the APC administration. The youth who are applying that road will not agree with you that the APC has failed. I drove to Zimbabwe. I made a donation of 2 million they were doing the flooding in that community. Those communities that are coming out to vote for the APC will not agree with you that Buhari or
what on the streets?
I'm coming now. So let's okay, for example, I came from Ibadan before I went to Calabar. I drove from Ibadan. I was pressing my phone and I looked up and I said, wait, when we didn't come, what happened? Lagos Ibadan Expressway, this fast? I remember many people died on that road. How can I get to Lagos this fast? The roads have been built under the Fashola ministry by the APC administration. The people who apply that road safely from Ibadan to Lagos every day will not agree with you that APC has failed. Yes, there are challenges, the same thing that you will see in England, the same thing you see in China. There are protests in other parts of Europe about the economy, about hardship. But it would be unfair to say in entirety that the APC... One more thing, Morayo. Yes, there are challenges at the national, but you would also get to some state and you see fantastic work that the APC administration is doing. The APC is not just the federal government or the administration at the national, which has its own level of challenges. And I agree with you. We have challenges as a nation. We're not where we're meant to be, but we're also not where we used to be. We have made progress, and we must come to terms with that. Yes, we deserve better. We must see better, and that's why my candidate is coming up to come and contest to say, I can accelerate the progress in Nigeria from where we have achieved in the last 8 years. That was a foundation. I want to build on that in an accelerative way.
If you tell someone that is suffering from this cash crunch all this way, they will just be looking at you.
No, I agree. Like I said, like I agree with you, man, that, you know, there are decisions like you will also experience in other economies. This, the cash crunch, I'm also not in support of it. I believe that it was a total wrong decision.
The petrol matter.
Yes, that's why I said there are pockets of challenges. But we cannot now throw away the baby with the bathwater. We cannot see that infrastructure that we're seeing the development. The second Niger bridge that people are not able to fly. Do you know out of the 33 states I went, about 27 of them I went by road? I did not fly. Let me give you an example.
The remaining 5, Uncle.
So, for example, I flew to Akwa Ibom 2 weeks ago. From Akwa Ibom, I now drove to Rivers. I did 2 days in Rivers. I went to Ogoni land and all of that. I came from Rivers. I drove to Bayelsa. I went to the creeks. I did some work in Nembe and in Brass. I came back to Yenogwa. I drove to Warri, Delta. I did about 2 days there mobilizing. I went to Amai community and Tamagbe. I came back. I drove again to Edo. From Edo, I drove to Ondo. From Ondo, if you see the roads that Governor Keredolu has done in that place, from Ondo, I drove to Ekiti. From Ekiti, I drove to Osun. From Osun, I drove to Oyo.
Let's talk about the renewed hope. And the reason why I want to talk about renewed hope is because a lot of problems that we see in Nigeria is because people feel hopelessness.
Yes.
And hopelessness sometimes comes when you have a leader, sometimes that doesn't talk to you, a leader that doesn't engage the people. There are bad leaders you see. They might not be doing rubbish, but because they're engaging the people, they're constantly talking, giving us follow-up. Yeah. People they just believe. They want something to believe in.
Absolutely.
Something that understands them. So it's not so much about, oh, you build this, you build that. It's like, I did not connect with this president.
100%.
So therefore, as a Nigerian, how can I be sure I will connect with this renewed hope vision, with this new president, if he does come in? How do you link me to him?
Thank you, Maria, and I think I 100% agree with you. Personality is a critical element of leadership.
Absolutely.
You have to be charismatic, you have to be communicative. And, you know, I think we've experienced leaders who have not really embellished that lifestyle. Perhaps they're a bit more quiet. Sometimes, you know, it has a result and effect on the outcome of the polls because people want leaders who are exciting and you want to be inspired by your leadership. But if you look at my candidate, for example, he's one of the candidates who has gone to engage Nigerians the most. Just yesterday was engaging the Yoruba community at a hotel. He had gone not just to the NESG town hall meetings, he has gone to the 6th state of Nigeria, talking to Nigerians, dancing. Yes, the definition of yes, he's not coming for debate, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that he's speaking to more people in communities in the grassroots where the votes are, where, you know, elections are won. He's interacting with Nigerians. And, you know, he's a politician. I tell you, somebody even before the election, he goes out and feels the pulse of the people. He's the only candidate that is winning this election that people go to his house and can, you know, access his building. When there's a celebration, you can enter his compound, you eat, you do everything. You know, all the other candidates have not been grassroots politicians. And one of the advantages, that this is the first time we're having a grassroots politician running for presidency, who understands, who a Olokada man or a Danfo guy has a relationship or can shout Akombi and, you know, can connect. The others are big men who cannot naturally relate. You know, you see this guy come and dance in front of, you know. Yes, we say that it's old politics, but it still works for the people in the grassroots.
Why are you talking about dancing? Shebi, they were abusing the other politician that just won, that is a dancing politician. Now you're saying somebody is a dancing...
No. I am not... I believe that soft skills are also important in human interaction. You must be able to get into a community and also interact and, you know, laugh and sing with people. It's part of grassroots politics.
I was speaking to somebody, you had a question.
He didn't answer my question on ideology.
Okay, so let me take that very quickly.
Why a lot of young people seem to still be following. So I want to know exactly what is the
APC,
catch.
for example, is a progressive party. Okay. It's a party that believes in social welfare. It's a party that believes in development. It's a party that is, above all, it's the progressivism that we promote. The welfare system, the values of Obafemi Awolowo and Lateef Jakonde and the others. And so we believe in these values. We believe also that, you know, the merger of the Progressive Party, including in particular the ACN wing, has shown Nigeria that greatness is possible. You know, for example, in Lagos, that we have used as our measuring yard to promote our candidate. Because you cannot come and say, I want to work for you without, showing us your CV and say, what have you done before? And then we can say, for example, here in Lagos, we have a candidate who governed, and for me, it's not the infrastructure that he built, or the bridge, or the roads, or the creation of jobs through Loma and Lasma. It's the fact that you created a national vision and say, where do we want to be in 20 years? And that master plan. So every governor who gets into Lagos picks the master plan and say, where are we? Where are we going? How do we get there?
Is this master plan physical?
Yes, it's a document. It's a paper document. Yeah. It's to say we must have these road services, we must have these rail services, and that's what you then begin to see with our last mile buses. You see that we're expanding the light ferry services. You see that we're also doing our rail infrastructure. There's a connection between all of us to lead to an intramodal transport system. The challenge we have in Nigeria is that leadership, like you said, has not been able to give us a national blueprint that we can all rally around. Yes, we see Vision 2020 that has been, it's not people-driven and it's not owned by the people. But if the most thing they can come to do is to get Nigeria around one goal. I want to see a Nigeria where my children will be happy to carry our green passport around, where you feel life, like you said.
So you want a Nigerian dream?
Yes.
Like the American dream.
That people can then follow up onto and build onto bricks by bricks, mortar by mortar. And if we can create that, everybody feels a sense of ownership. So you then know that the road we are building here is leading to something. We want to open the economy in that particular community. Our interventions are driven by a goal and an aspiration for where we want to get to. I think we need that kind of leadership to come and get us all to see one vision.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
With us, we still have our guest, Honorable Dio Israel, with us. So Asiwaju's credit, you know, when Emefiele and his cohorts came up with this policy, he was the first to condemn it, say that it's going to cause hardship on people, that this policy was not right at this time for Nigerians. And every other person, other candidates around him would say, no. In fact, even when the Supreme Court said it should extend it, other candidates came out on Twitter and said, don't extend it, it's good for democracy. Well, many of these other candidates now, in the last few days, have turned around to say, please, they have to, the hardship on the people. Asiwaju was able to see, even before they even saw.
He's a visionary.
He could see ahead that this thing is not going, and he was the first to condemn it. What does Asiwaju see for young people? What's that vision? What's that thing he wants to achieve for Nigerian youth if he becomes president?
So it excites me in this question. Asiwaju has said for young people he has two agendas: to work for us and to work with us. In terms of working for us, is to say, how do I improve your lives? How do I create sustainable livelihoods for you and social justice? So it said, I'm going to start from cradle. So basic education is going to invest a lot more and also scale up some of the things that were piloted in Lagos. For example, you're very familiar with what we've done with digitalizing our teaching and learning and our classroom in Lagos State through our Co-Excel program. Those kind of innovations, for example, have been understudied by other states. We have Kwara State already building on it called Kwara Learn, and other states across Nigeria. Digitalization of teaching and learning in classrooms across Nigeria is something that the APC administration under Asiwaju is going to introduce by the grace of the Almighty when he gets elected on Saturday by God's grace. So beyond that also is to also ensure that we can get more young people to have access to healthcare services. In Lagos, for example, is being able to pilot social insurance, and that is also going to be part of the things that on a large scale over time will be expanded. Of course, there exists that already, health insurance in Nigeria, but the expansion of that to reach more. So we're not going to just expand the tax net to bring more people into the tax net. We're also going to expand the social services net to ensure that we can reach out and cover more people and more families and more children.
And I hear social services, that's more money. That's more spending. Where's he going to get the money from?
Yes, we'll come back to where he's going to get the money from. But these are services that you must offer. That's why you have a government. You must be able to guarantee healthcare services. You must be able to guarantee education. Without education, you can't build the future. And that's why I said, for example, he's going to introduce student loans. Some of the best and brightest of students are going to get scholarships. Like I did when he was governor of Lagos. I was privileged to be one of those he sponsored to go and study law at London Metropolitan University. So, you know, he's always done all these things and he's piloted them at a small scale in Lagos. I don't even know if you should call that a small scale, but compared to 36 states, it's now going to scale up and maximize it across. So we're talking education, we're talking infrastructure. It's going to also, you know, focus on security, recruitment into the armed forces and police services, doing two things at the same time. So it's going to create jobs in the security sector. But beyond that, also be able to secure Nigeria so that you can sleep and wake up comfortably knowing that you're safe. You know, I believe that living in Lagos today gives you a huge sense of safety. I've traveled across Nigeria, and I know there are places I went to that part of what, you know, the administration has done is to have police checkpoints in almost every 1 kilometer or every 500 meters and stuff. But you can be in Lagos and know that, yeah, there are pockets of crime in Oshodi, like you would see in the Queens in New York, or in Peckham in London, or even in West End in London. You see some pockets of that on Lekki Ekpe Expressway in traffic. But that's even also being caught by the good work that the IRS has done. So if you look at what he has been able to do in that, he's committed and said over and over again, we're going to recruit into the armed forces, into the police service, train them, ensure they have the best of quality of service, and then in turn also secure Nigeria. So there's security, there's education, there's infrastructure, there's healthcare, you know, and also creative industry is going to blossom like we've been able to do and make Lagos almost like the Hollywood of Nigeria. You know, creative economy across Nigeria.
Without government support, I must say.
Yeah, but it took government creating an enabling environment. I'll give you an example. Look at what Lagos State government is doing with Moabudu at the Ebony Life Academy and the Lagos Creative. You know, in training and empowering hundreds of young people in cinematography and other skills that would help you perform and get a good job in the creative sector. So, yes, government will not be full force, but PPP and government engaging the private sector and even creating an enabling environment for them to operate is really critical. Even creating concessions for them.
So, there's a fear. People on the streets, you know, during this political season, you hear from different angles, everybody sharing their own perspective on why they want to vote for this person or that person. And the word on the street is there's a fear that there may likely be a lot of taxes that will be imposed on Nigerians if your principal becomes president, seeing how, according to them, Lagos is really being taxed in that way. So is there any plan to sort of make the taxing system easier or harder for Nigerians? I'd like you to share that.
You know, many people speak from the level of ignorance. Look at Lagos. I remember, because I was part of the transition committee for Governor Sanwo-Olu, to the glory of God. And I remember that one of the priorities for Mr. Governor at that time was to ensure that we consolidate our taxing system and remove multiple levels of taxations.
I remember.
And that is now being implemented in Lagos to ensure that there are no double taxations, and even the way that he has been able to ease the tightening systems, include, you know, bringing on board more commissioners to be able to approve the C of O's so that, you know, people can get their titling very fast. Before, it was probably the governor that was signing the stuff in the earlier administration. But now under this administration, you have about 5, 6 commissioners who can serve that just to, you know, promote the ease of doing business. So it's not about you know, putting more burden of tax on people. It's about ensuring that we have more people who are able to put in their own little as well into the basket. In turn, they get better social services. We can buy more truck, as we've just done for the Ministry of Special Duties and the fire services in Lagos with those funding. We can invest in Lagos State Security Trust Fund because there are more income coming into Lagos State to buy vehicles for the IRS and the police and LASMA and neighborhood, for example. So, yes, there would be more expansion of the tax net, not necessarily increasing the tax burden on the people. There are a lot of other ways that you can drive growth. Ashimaju lived abroad, is exposed, he understands this economics of how to build a nation and how to expand and grow an economy. And that's why it's different from every other candidate. He's an accountant, he was an auditor.
Yeah. There is this fear for a lot of people that because I heard you say you are given scholarship or you went to England for university. So people feel that the people who are supporting him are people who have directly benefited from him. And you saying you benefited is making people feel,
Okay, so the Yoruba will say, let me give you an example. When I became governor, many of the people who are 20 or 25 or 30 today, in 2000, were probably in primary schools in Lagos or secondary schools. Asiwaju came and paid the WAEC fees of every of the students in SS3 and NECO and GCE. SS3 from year 2000 to about 2007 when he left. And I believe that is the culture till today. Every of those people has benefited from Asiwaju, not just about him, but about his administration. Everybody who used to drive on Amadou Bello Way, that time when there was always a flood from Babbage that was breaking the glasses at IMB building, and they said it was Mami Water that was seeing a reflection on that building, who now drive on the better Amadou Bello Way has benefited from Asiwaju. So we can go and go and go on. If your life has not impacted people, or your administration as a governor, then you are not a leader. So what we are selling is that his administration has been able to improve the lives and the lot of everybody who has lived in Lagos under his tenure, even till today, because his legacy has continued to improve the lives of people. People who have come after him, who have benefited from his leadership, have continued to also do that for others. Look at how we're able to, yesterday there was a commercial boat capsized around the Third Mainland Bridge, and our LASWA in Lagos was able to rescue everybody alive because the Lagos state government was able to create Lagos Waterways Authority that is able to provide services and respond to emergency like that. These are the systems that we have created that people are benefiting from. So there's nobody that can say one way or the other they have not benefited from him.
Yeah, we know that the average Nigerian, we have very short memories. You know, once somebody does something, in fact, Buhari was the worst person. About 2 weeks ago, we hate Buhari. Suddenly, some opposition like, he's a fantastic guy. This new policy, this Buhari is a nice, this Buhari and emefiele, fantastic. Suddenly, we have 360-degree, that's us. But when it comes to young candidates, somebody you think as a young person, you would rather support a young candidate, not your own principle. They think, young people should not, we should all support somebody else that is younger because he's youthful, he's closer to us. What do you say to people who have that mentality that they know Asiwaju has the capacity, he has the experience, he has the blueprint, he has done this, he has done that. Yes, but it's just too far away from my age.
So, Mario, if it wasn't Asiwaju, I probably wouldn't have supported somebody who, you know, is, like you said, probably a bit older or out of our generation. But I've seen in him the ability to open the space. And I told you when I was answering this question, he said he's going to do two things. He's going to work for us. So create work for us. But he's also said we're going to work with you. And, you know, I would have doubted him, but I see Akim Murio Konla, who is head of service in Lagos State in his 40s, because of the mentorship that Asiwaju was able to create doors for him. Or my own governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who is 56 this year, I believe. And 20 years ago was commissioner under Asiwaju, and Mini was 36. And Babatunde Raji Fashola, who was probably 38, 39 when he became governor. And we can go and count many more who were local government chairman, councillors. Some of you don't even know their name. But he has been able to bring into the public sector, bring into private sector, create opportunities for. And so when he says, I'm going to give you a seat at the table, I'm not coming because of me. I have everything I want. I just want a legacy. I want to help you build a Nigeria, work with you collectively. We will do this hand to hand together. Then I feel that, you know what, why don't I give my all to this for a man who can go and make the way for our generation to be able to take over leadership?
There is the fear that he is too old because there have been many videos being shared around where he has made blunders, where he has called PDP. And so people say, oh, yeah, he has these great policies. Yes, he has. But he's too old. He cannot implement.
Auntie Yeri, is the PDP candidate a young guy? The same person that said, also said APC, or what did he say the other day? AP and then PDP. Is the 60 years old Labour candidate a young man? A youth is 45. So in the first instance, none of the candidates are young. So let's get it straight. Then, we also talk about the fact that people want to highlight on the errors But I light on the fact that this guy has gone to over, he's gone to some states 5 times, and he has gone to 36 states of Nigeria. Nobody on the ticket in this election has put in more work into the campaign like Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done in this election. Nobody has been to more cities, has held more rallies. Even when you hold all the cash, thinking you are going to stop him, he has continued. Go to Tessin Balogun Stadium. It's filled up right now. The guy is flying 3-4 cities. He went to Anambra. The same day, he went to Calabar to go and do rallies. He's meeting, holding town halls, faith leaders, traditional leaders. Tell me which of the other candidates. Is it the one that only goes to the Christian community in a particular state? A sectional campaign that is running? No, let's be serious. We cannot continue to highlight on the weakness without... Caleb said to Joshua, he said, I am as strong today at 80 than like I was 40 years ago. So give me this mountain. So what Bola Tinubu is saying is, give me this mountain. Let me show you that I have what it takes to walk with you.
Yeah, I'm not as strong as I was 20 years ago.
There will always be a decline.
But so
there would always be.
We're going to wrap up with you very shortly. And one of the things that a lot of young people don't know is Asiwaju's work in democracy that we enjoy today. I don't know if you have any more information to share, because a lot of people, older people who are supporting him, is because they knew him in the trenches. They knew him when Nigeria was totally under military junta, and how he funded, how he supported many of these people to become. Could you say a few things to young people who are still thinking to themselves that, why is this? Why is everybody supporting this man? What exactly is with this man?
I think the truth is that many of our generation are not aware, of the sacrifice and the price that was paid to enjoy the Nigeria that we have today. I remember that I was in development before I joined politics. I was in CLO. I used to go to CLO in Obat Street, Jibo, with Larry Suraj, Abdul Oro, and many others. So I was part of the pro-democracy even as a child. In 98, 99, I was part of the 1 million man march against Abacha in 1990. I was a little boy, but I was involved in that.
How old are you now?
I'm in my 30s. My 30s.
Really?
Yes, I am.
Wow. Late
30s. So, but the reality is that I remember I used to go from Methodist boys, climb the Tarzan jetty to UNICEF on Queen's Drive to go and do human rights activities. I remember they used to call me senior human rights. So a little bit, I have an understanding of what it meant to live under Abacha and to live in a military regime, you know. But the reality is that many of my generation do not have that experience. And so we're disconnected from what we have to go through. I used to read all those human rights reports, Law report by Olisa Agbakoba. We used to do something at a dome and Creek Road in Apapa then, where Laws was. But many people in my generation don't have that. Asiwaju was one of those who fought. They had to escape out of Nigeria to Ghana, to Cotonou, to be able to move to Europe, because the military regime in particular, under General Sani Abacha, did not want you to even be able to use Twitter or WhatsApp. You know, that's what we can relate to. Imagine that you cannot even, you live like they do in Syria or in China, where you cannot even communicate, or what they do in Afghanistan, where there's a particular way you have to dress. It was really a challenging period for Nigeria at that time. But Asiwaju financed and funded the pro-democracy movement. They were running Kudirat, Radio Kudirat in London. He had to be away from his wife for many years. She was, I believe, yes, and his children, because of the military regime. And they were able to overcome Abacha. They stood with MK Abiola, and that's how democracy was able to return back to Nigeria. So these were men who had paid the price. I know people will say, yeah, thank him, but presidency is not a way to reward. Yes, it's not about that. It's because he has seen Nigeria in different times, and he knows what it takes. He paid those prices because he wants to see a particular Nigeria of our dream. And he's saying, I'm going to work with you to build that Nigeria that we have fought for and we paid the price for.
All right, we wish you all the best. Thank you very much for joining us. And I hope Nigerians do go to the polls and vote their conscience regardless of who their choices are. Thank you very much for joining us on the show today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Stay safe. Here's Mega.